Canning preservation.
Don't you think that it's odd when a food in a can lasts longer than the food that we normally cook? So, basically we have something that we call preservation, and also we have something called canning preservation. So canning preservation is a type of preservation. It's not actually that simple or easy to create or perform the canning preservation. It's not as if putting any type of food in a random can would magically make it last longer. Canning preservation does have many steps to acquire preservation to the food that we place inside the can. Okay, so the first step of canning preservation is the selection of raw material. So, in this context, we have chosen the food sardines. The next step would be the treatment for the fish before we go through the canning process. So the first step for the treatment is knobbing. So, what's knobbing again? Knobbing. Knobbing is basically removing the head and gut from fatty fish, such as herring, by partially severing the head and pulling the head away. Together with the attached gut, the roe or milk is left in. So basically, what we're gonna do is remove the head of the fish with its attached guts. So let's throw that away. So now we have a fish here that has undergone the treatment of knobbing. Now the next process for treatment is washing and descaling. So this is where we wash the fish and remove the scales of the fish. Okay, so let's start by removing its scales like this. So now it's finished. Now that was the second process for our treatment, and the next process is now called as brining. We are now going to place the fish that we have treated with knobbing and also washing or descaling, and we are going to brine it. Brining is a preservation method that involves soaking food in a solution of salt and water. After brining, we are going to go through the canning process, which is first packing or filling the can. So here we have a clean can, and here we will place the fish that we have treated before with knobbing, washing and descaling, and finally brining. So here we go.
So here's the can. So exhausting is done by the application of heat. And we have called aeronautic condition. When we say aeronautic condition, it is have little oxygen and non-oxygen. And by this, the gas inside the head space and between two fish pieces will be removed and the partial vacuum will be formed. And exhausting is done to prevent bulging of can, oxidation of the food, and inside erosion of the tin plate. After the exhaust, next is closing the can. So all fish cans prepared in this country are closed by the double seaming method, and the operation is usually called seaming. After the closing the can, next is washing of can is done by the hot water spray to remove adhering materials. Next step is sterilization. The temperature of the can is determined a recorder which is called thermocouple. So the heat processing is done in a special instrument called retort, and so the process is called retorting. And the heat processing, it is the most important step during the whole canning procedure. So after this sterilize the can, we have cooling. So cooling is done as quickly as possible after retorting. Otherwise, a flavor may produce because considerable changes may take place during heat processing. After cooling, cans of large fish such as herring and pilchards are stored for a period of weeks before labeling. So here's the product, the final product. And cans of small fish are usually labeled directly since these are not so susceptible to damage. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much. I hope you learned a lot from 9 steps canning preservation.